Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars. Topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway. We are brought to you by adamandeve.com. For a limited time only, you'll get 50% off just about any item using promo code HOOP. That's HOOP. I told you guys, I don't want to be I'm not a I told you so type. That's not my hype. That's not what I do. I don't run around all over the place saying I told you so. But I will say I told you so this time because I let you guys know that Cavs Knicks game was going to be the game of the night. I mean, it was going to be lit. I told you, and I hope y'all watched it. And if you didn't, I'm going to give you a brief recap because it was, I'm sorry. Let me not just jump in like that. Let me go ahead and tell you, I had a good day. Morning's been cool. I got a good workout in here today. I'm feeling myself. Enough about me. I'm telling you guys that game was going to be lit. It ended up being great. The Knicks jumped off to a great lead. Prior to this game being played, LeBron said that the Knicks missed out on a pick by not taking Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith Jr. ended up being taken by the Mavericks after Frank from France, Frank Ntilikina, was drafted. And, you know, LeBron, because LeBron's known Dennis Smith so long, he's like, he's a good kid. I've watched him a long time. I think he's solid. I think he would fit well with the Knicks and Porzingis. I wasn't taking any shots at Frank from France. I don't even know Frank from France. It was more of a shot at, the old fella, quote unquote, the old fella, him referring to Phil Jackson, the old fella, because him and LeBron had a little bit of beef because of some stuff that Phil Jackson said. So you had that going in. You had that little itty bitty piece of drama going in. Chris Cantor and Porzingis both said, we're happy with Frank from France. Like, we're good. We're fine. I don't know why LeBron's even worried about our team. Like, it's nothing to us. Like, it's really nothing. And like they were really talking before this game like it was an AAU game, like it was a high school game, whereas like it was a high school in division game. The team that you play twice, you don't play that many high school basketball games. It's not like the NBA where we play 82. You will only play including preseason, about 26 games. So when you play those inner city games, it was gonna be it was gonna be heads up. The Knicks were up 16 at one point, ended up losing the game to the Cavs. LeBron hit a buzzer beater. It was everything you needed to see. There was a little dust up, a slight introduction of a mollywop, if you will. LeBron and Chris Cantor got face to face because LeBron kind of bumped Frank from France a little bit, and it got pretty serious. It was a good game though. The dopest thing about it is that, see, the Cavs, I don't know if you know what their record is, but they've been doing this thing where when they play down to their competition, which people were worried about, like, oh my God, they lose to bad teams that play up, but play good when the team's good. Yeah, that makes sense because that's who you play in the playoffs are usually good teams. So if you're trying to rest your players and do that and do trying to do the inadvertent rest move because the NBA decided you can't rest players. So it sounds like the Cavs have finessed the system like, okay, we're just not going to go hard at the games that don't really matter. So they finessed the system. Congratulations, Tyronn Lue. I stated this a little bit earlier, but LeBron, similar to other greats like Kobe, like Jordan, they consider going to play at Madison Square Garden the Mecca. And there's, other great players, not just Michael Jordan and Kobe. Kyrie's not a Hall of Famer yet, but one time he scored 41 points there while he was wearing a mask. The first time he was wearing a mask, because Kyrie has worn a mask before. This is his mask part 2. This is Kyrie's the mask 2 right now, in case you guys didn't know that. But yeah, so players, they go to Madison Square Garden, they get buckets like that. That's the thing to do there. Actually, LeBron has scored 50 points twice there. Once he scored 50, another time he scored 52 there. So LeBron already knows this is a great place to play. It's kind of like the Dallas Cowboys' new stadium. Whenever anyone goes to that stadium, like any away teams, they love playing there just because the stadium's really nice. The turf is good. It's a great place to play. And the Cowboys record there is like a little bit over 500, give or take, just because other teams love playing there. Dallas fans are cool. Again, the stadium's lit. It's a great destination place to be. Like, I've been there 3 times. I haven't been to Madison Square Garden yet. I plan to go to Madison Square Garden when I sell out Madison Square Garden. I don't really plan on going before then. Anyway, so Madison Square Garden kind of has that appeal where if you're a great player, that's where you want to go to put up buckets. New York is the center of the universe. So of course you want to go to go get buckets. LeBron says it's a great place to play. That night, he had 30 points. LeBron actually averages 30 points in MSG. So when I say MSG, I'm not talking about the salt that you put on your food, like just so we're clear. I'm not talking about like that MSG. The actual like Madison Square Garden. So I don't want anybody that's, if you have like a food allergy or, you're a little gluten sensitive, I don't want to offend anybody. This is the show for everybody. I'm here for the culture. I'm here for the people. Anyway, LeBron averages not 30, but 28.5 points at the Knicks, right? But get this, that's not where he averages the most points. It's actually like 6th. He averages the most points at the Warriors, at the Bulls, at the Celtics, at the Wizards, at the Hawks. The interesting thing about these numbers is this. All those teams I listed to you have been significant in the playoffs during LeBron's career. When I say Warriors, I'm talking about like towards the end, right now, like towards the end of LeBron's career, really. So he's done big games there. Those other teams are staples in the Eastern Conference playoffs. You're talking about the Wizards, the Celtics, the Hawks. Those are the Bulls at one point. Like, LeBron put up buckets there. The only team on the top of that list that hasn't been in the playoffs since LeBron has been in the league, I think the Knicks have been to the playoffs twice since LeBron been in the league, and they didn't even play the Cavs or the Miami Heat or whatever team LeBron played for. I'm not sure. It might have been the Kings. But he's been going there getting buckets for no reason. These other teams where he goes and just gets buckets like it's nothing, that's a little bit different because like those are real playoff games. He's going and like doing his best to actually get a game that matters. No, when it comes to MSG, nope. He just goes there and just does whatever he wants to do. He just shows up like, I'm gonna get these buckets in MSG, Madison Square Garden, and that's what I'm gonna do. As LeBron, the game was lit. Words are weapons. We had a reporter quoting Biggie lyrics that blew Twitter up. He quoted the lyric a little bit wrong and did some, he did some. Anyway, we had a reporter quote a Biggie lyric during the game, and just because the game was that cracking, it was that astounding. After the game, Chris Cantor went ahead and said that this team is his family. Ain't nobody gonna run up here and just punk us like that. He literally said, ain't nobody gonna punk us. And I can appreciate the fight. I really do. Especially because Chris Cantor just got there. Chris Cantor came over during the Carmelo trade that sent Melo to OKC with Westbrook and Paul George, because obviously they need more shooters. Obviously, right? Like, there's not enough people shooting the ball on the team. Anyway, so Chris Cantor came over. He's only been on the squad a couple minutes, but he already feels like that's family. So I'm all the way with it. I need teammates like that in my mastermind group. I need to meet people and they say, you know what, Ryan? Holloway? I'll ride with you. I've known you 35 seconds, but if anything went down, I got your back. Ain't nobody gonna come in here and punk us. Chris Cantor said, I'm sorry, Enes, my apologies. Enes Cantor said, if LeBron wants to pick on somebody, he can't pick on the rookie. Enes Cantor has Frank from France's back. So it was a good game. I mean, it was solid in the way where you see basically a moral victory for the Knicks because LeBron went there and did his LeBron thing, but he didn't decimate them. Now, if they were up 16 and then lost by 20, that'd be ugly. It'd be real ugly. But they were up 16 and then lost by a buzzer beater. So I actually think it's a win-win. If your team is up and coming and you play a great player really well and then you barely lose. I mean, because here's the thing. If they would have won, right, would we think that the Knicks are back? We would talk. There'd be excuses. The Cavs don't have Tristan. Cavs don't have IT. Blah, 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 blah. That type of narrative. But, I mean, they lost because they're supposed to lose to the Cavs, but they only lost by 3, and he played a solid game. So, I'm kind of happy for the Knicks. I'm not somebody that's really like into handing out moral victories. That's not really my cup of tea. However, in this situation with the Knicks being on the verge of back, it's cool. I don't mind them being kind of back. I remember when I was younger and the Knicks were good, like when they used to have low-key Heat rivalries. This was a while ago. They had a Heat rivalry, the Knicks and Heat. Can you imagine? You can't because it's not something you could imagine. But they used to have Heat and Knicks rivalries. It was cracking. In this game right now, Enes gave you 20. Tim Hardaway Jr. gave you 28. Courtney Lee, the original face mask bandit. Like, he was one of the first people to ever have the mask. Actually, I think he might have had it after Kobe and after Rip Hamilton. But he wore it for a long time. And your man's Jared Jack, who is still in the league somehow, he had 2. Porzingis had 20. So, I mean, they have a solid squad. They were balling. They did some work. I'm happy for them. After the game, LeBron went ahead and posted a picture of him on IG, basically saying that he's the king of New York. So, with that, I mean, that's okay because he basically went in there and punked up on and kind of like just went bad on Frank from France, and then went bad on Phil Jackson, who's not even there anymore. And then he went bad on the whole squad. I don't have to give you a list of who he went bad on. He went bad on the whole squad. Then he went bad on the city by saying he's the king of New York. So that's fine because I think that the biggest takeaway for the Knicks from this is that they're a good team because the Cavs only beat good teams. So bless up. If y'all would have lost to the Cavs, then it'd be like, oh. I mean, if y'all would have beat the Cavs, like, oh, the Cavs only lose to bad teams, so I guess we're a bad team. But if LeBron chose to beat y'all, congratulations. You've been blessed. You are now officially a good team. Bless up to the Knicks. Right now, according to the standings, if the playoffs started right now, guess where the Knicks would be? Just guess. I'm going to give y'all a couple seconds to guess. Guess. 6th. They'd be 6th. When I talked to you guys last time, I believe they were 7th. So they're making moves. Wait. I'm sorry. Last time I talked to y'all, they were 5th. Now they're 6th. So they went down the game, and that's okay because they had to play King James. Anyway, they're 7-6. They're in 6th place, right above guess who. If I gave you a million guess, I could give you 10 minutes to even Google this. You wouldn't find it because maybe Google wouldn't believe you, so Google wouldn't even try to tell you that lie. Guess who they're ahead of? Philadelphia. The Philadelphia the Philadelphia Sixers. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about them a little bit later because what they're doing over there with Ben Simmons and your man Joel Embiid, it's going to be a problem, GMCers. It's going to be a problem, GSMCers. My bad, sometimes the acronym word just gets lost a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and pay this bill real quick. We got to keep these lights on, and I got to keep churning out these topics for you guys. When I get back, I'm going to tell you about how real Philly is. Don't be scared. Be right back. Are you looking to spice things up in the bedroom? Been fantasizing about surprising your lover with an adventurous new toy or adult movie? Well, here's an offer you won't be able to resist. Go to adamandeve.com, and for a limited time only, you'll get 50% off just about any item. But that's not all. When you select your one item at 50% off, you'll also receive 3 free adult DVDs for a little inspiration, plus a free extra gift so sensual we can't mention on the podcast. And to top it all off, they'll even throw in free shipping on your entire order. And no, they're not kidding. So check out adamandeve.com today for this special offer. Get 50% off one item when you type HOOP for the offer code upon checkout. When you do, you'll get 3 free DVDs, a free extra gift, and free extra shipping. Just use offer code HOOP at adamandeve.com. That's HOOP, HOOP at adamandeve.com.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway. I just got done telling you guys about how LeBron showed up to New York like Snoop Dogg in the New York video, crushing buildings and going bad on the Knicks. But he didn't really go bad on them. He only dropped 30 and then hit a buzzer beater and low-key broke Knicks fans' hearts. But it was cool because the way I see it, it was kind of for LeBron. It was kind of one of those things where, similar to in the Thor Ragnarok movie, where when Thor gets there and he's about to fight Hulk, everybody's chanting for Hulk, and then they boo Thor like, boo, boo, we hate you. Go back home. We hate your hair. Hammers are stupid. And everybody's cheering for Hulk. People got their faces painted green, everything, all the good stuff. What ends up happening? Thor starts letting Hulk have it, and then immediately people start cheering for Thor. And this is kind of what happened with LeBron, because when he came out, instantly he was booed. And then when he hit the game winner, everybody started cheering for him. So bless up to LeBron. What I'm about to tell you guys about some real trouble in the East. Real life trouble is coming to you in the East in the form of the process, the infamous process that Philadelphia has decided to plague us with. You know, draft a whole bunch of really good players year after year after year because they constantly lose games all the time. So take somebody illy, they get hurt, lose games. Pick somebody illy, they get hurt, lose more games. It goes on forever. Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jahlil Okafor, Markelle Fultz. The list goes on forever. However, the process is finally working itself out because somehow, some way, the 76ers are 7th. They're ranked 7th. Get it? And they're 7-6. Get it? And that's not something I just made up for a pun. They're really 7-6. So the 76ers are balling. This might be one of the first years that they don't get a top pick. They're gonna be a problem, and I'm gonna tell you why. They have a point guard. Well, he's not really a point guard, but he's getting this LeBron on. Like, they're gonna say he's a guard. They're gonna say he's a point forward, but I don't really know why we're calling it that anymore. We should just call them all just ball handlers because I mean LeBron basically changed the game a minute ago. Kind of like Orlando Shaq. Like when Orlando Shaq would grab the ball off the rim and just push it down the court and then like fake pass and dunk on people, but with more handles. So they got this man-child Ben Simmons who was hurt last year. So he's probably going to end up getting Rookie of the Year, kind of like the whole Blake Griffin thing. Like when you're hurt, your rookie year, so it doesn't count as your rookie year, then you come back and then you ball. He's probably going to get Rookie of the Year because your man's Lonzo Ball, it's not looking good unless LA politics in the NBA are really that serious where we can just give somebody Rookie of the Year solely based on all of the strength. Anyway, this man Ben Simmons is averaging 17, 9, and 7. He's balling. He's 6'10" and he's dropping dimes like no other, and he's banging on people. He caught an alley-oop he caught a 180 alley-oop that was just the nastiest on so many levels. And he does it with this like serial killer look, like Kawhi Leonard, where he's just doing dope things and doesn't really have any emotion. Not the disengaged look. I hate to say this, not disengaged, like, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but just the look that is judged as disengagement that's given to us by like Jay Cutler or Lonzo Ball. Not that disengaged look, but like that deadpan look, like I'm only here to do one thing, like that Kawhi Leonard look. That's the look that Ben Simmons has. It's great. I also have a freak of nature, 7-foot beast, Joel Embiid. He's actually on a minute restriction right now where they don't really want him out there. They don't want him out there all willy-nilly using all his strength because I don't want to say anybody's fragile because I'm not about to be out there playing. So the last thing I'm going to do is call someone fragile. What I am going to say is he's had several injuries that will concern you. So, I mean, once he gets, I'm going to say sturdy. I don't even know how I'm going to say this man isn't sturdy. He's huge. You think Porzingis is huge? I mean, I think he's got like 1.5 inches on Joel Embiid, but Joel Embiid is huge. He's a monster. He gave DeAndre Jordan a pump fake the other day that sent DeAndre Jordan to the moon. And then Joel Embiid went in there and just banged it. Now, when you see a 7-footer banging, sometimes it doesn't look that impressive, but the way Joel Embiid and Porzingis have banged on people, I mean, it kind of takes you back to the Shaq days a little bit. Yes, I mentioned Shaq multiple times because before Shaq got as big as like an actual Shaq, he used to be incredibly versatile and he was a problem. He was a big problem for the East. That's why they low-key got rid of him and sent him to the West and made him our problem. Anyway, I digress. So, I mean, I'm kind of willing to buy into the process. At first, I kind of felt like it was unfair for them to lose a whole bunch of games and then get all these draft picks. But what's the difference? Like you draft some players that get hurt. That's not your fault. Then so you're bad again. You draft some players that get hurt. Then you're bad again. You draft some more players that get hurt. Then you're bad again. And then eventually they're all healthy. I don't really think that's on you. Now, if you're purposely losing games whilst your players are hurt, I mean, I'm not going to say that's okay, but like, why try really, really hard if you not about to beat LeBron than them? It kind of feels like they're just waiting it out. You ever be about to leave your house and then it's around that time where there's too much traffic outside? Like, depending on where you live at. I don't know. If you live somewhere in the middle of nowhere where you don't deal with that much traffic, if you live in the middle of nowhere and there's like one highway, you know about that time it's going to be really, really ugly. Yeah, you can relate. Everybody can relate to this. There's times you can't leave your house. You just can't. If you do get into traffic, it's going to be ugly for 30 minutes to an hour based on wherever you're going to be going. This is one of those situations. The 76ers looked outside their window. They was about to go to the store, needed some milk, but it wasn't urgent. It was important, but it wasn't urgent. You know what I mean? They looked outside and saw the traffic, which is LeBron in the Cavs, and was like, nah, B. Nah. Actually, this whole trust the process thing has been going on for longer than that. I feel like it's been going on since LeBron was on the Heat still, because the Jahlil Okafor draft was a minute ago. So, I mean, why not wait it out? They looked out the window and was like, oh, it's LeBron's out there. I'm cool. I'm good. And I mean, they've received criticism because they didn't go after free agents or work a little bit harder on the back end to like bring anybody else in to work on any trades. Why? For what? If you waiting LeBron out, you're not going to get it. You're not about to make a trade for somebody that's LeBron's age. Should they have made a move for Carmelo? Should they have made a move for Chris Paul? Should they have made a move for Kevin Durant? No, because they want to draft 12-year-olds now. And that way, when LeBron and LeBron's whole class of people, LeBron to let's say like the Currys, give or take, which that's kind of far off. No, it's not. Yeah, the LeBrons and the Currys, when they're all out, then you'll be able to win. And that's just strategic. I'm about to try to get every competitive edge possible. So I'm going to say that I trust the process. I genuinely do. Because if you can go ahead and get get somebody that's 6'10" and then get someone that's 7'2" and they can both ball, then why not? Why not? I mean, when this happens serendipitously, sometimes this happens and then we like to pretend that like it's serendipity that it occurred. Like when David Robinson got hurt and then the Spurs lost all these games and got Tim Duncan. We're gonna sit back for our purposes of fairy tales and just pretend that was just a massive coincidence. But no, like David Robinson got hurt, so the Spurs weren't just like playing super hard. I mean, because why? Same thing happened with the Colts. Your man's Peyton Manning, he was out, and it's like, we're not gonna try to lose these games, but we can't win without Peyton, so I guess we're just gonna take this draft pick. Why not? So I don't knock anyone for a competitive advantage, because the way I mean, you got to do your homework. Why would you want to play on an even playing field? And that's what the draft is for, right? If it wasn't for the 76ers saying, hey, we're going to trust this process, and they were trying their hardest to win these games, then they probably wouldn't have got all these picks, and these players would be probably dispersed among other bad teams. And then what? Then what do we have? Then what? We got a whole bunch of players on bad teams. So I'm all good with the 76ers rocking with the trust the process. They got a little bit of a veteran leadership over there with your man's JJ Redick. So I mean, I'm all the way for it. I'm for the Sixers. I'm for the process. We don't even know what Markelle Fultz is going to be like. We have no idea. We don't even know. That's kind of scary because he was illy at Washington, and apparently he's got this wild long wingspan. So he's gonna be an issue when he gets back. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to it, because I hear this said often that the NBA is better when the Knicks and the Lakers are good. But I mean, I personally feel like the NBA is cool also when the 76ers are good, just because they have a long history of coming up short. Yeah, like when they had AI, don't even get me started. When they had AI and they used to ball, I mean, they had a solid team. No, they didn't. They had AI and he put the whole city on his back though. But it felt good to watch the underdog, because the 76ers are usually the underdog. So I'm all for it. If they could bounce back, or I mean, which they are, I'm completely for the 76ers being raw. And I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm 100% supportive of the process. So bless up 76ers. I've been down with y'all since day one. Nah, I can't even say that. I retired my 76er jersey when AI retired because they made me upset. I digress. When I get back, I'm going to tell you guys about Liangelo Ball in the shoplifting game, out on bail, fresh out of jail. So they got deported back to California. I'm going to give you guys a little background about that, give you my thoughts. I'm also going to tell you about Kyrie and this mask. I was under the delusional impression that he would enjoy putting on the mask because it would channel the way he was balling before, and it will also channel his inner Kobe Bryant, Mamba mentality. But turns out that mask is completely uncomfortable and he absolutely hates it. He has to move it all around. When asked how his face felt, he told someone it's broken, which makes complete sense because the NBA sold this to us as a minor fracture in the face, but I don't understand how you can have a minor face fracture. That's an oxymoron, and it sounds like jumbo shrimp, which makes sense but doesn't make sense. I'm going to pay this bill, and I'm going to be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway. Welcome back, GSMCers. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me after that brief commercial break. Welcome back. In case you weren't here last segment, I was giving you guys a breakdown about how I have decided to trust the process. I have decided to trust the process that the Philadelphia 76ers are running. It took a while, but I mean, to lose a whole bunch of games and then keep getting good players, and if they get hurt and can't play and then you lose more games, that's not necessarily their fault. That's just part of the process. And I've decided to trust that process because they are balling. Somehow, some way, the 76ers are 7-6. That's probably going to be a good sign, and they may make the playoffs. With that said, I appreciate y'all, Philadelphia. Bless up. Back to the, what are we going to call this? We're going to call this, I'm going to call this college basketball, but it's not, I'm going to call this college basketball. Back to college basketball, but not really basketball. Anyway, you judge it. So, as most of us know, in case you guys didn't know, Liangelo Ball and two other players were arrested in China or apprehended, or they were taken into custody for theft of sunglasses near the hotel. They were in China for an exhibition game to play Georgia Tech. They were in the hotel. 20 police officers showed up. They interrogated. I'm not going to say interrogated. I don't really know. They questioned a bunch of players without the coaches around. They just questioned the players straight up. The laws in China are different, I guess, because from what I knew is that you had to have an adult present with minors. Wait, how old am I? They're not minors, over 18. Anyway, skip that. So the authorities questioned all the players, and then they end up leaving with 3 players. So basically, something came up missing. They knew the team was there. They went and asked some questions, and I'm guessing some fingers got pointed because I'm sure some of those players was like, "Nah, I wasn't there. I'm not going to tell you who was there, but what I can do is I can use my finger to maybe aim at the direction of the room that one of those people might be staying in. I'm not going to say I'm going to point at the particular room in question. I'm just saying that if I move my finger towards the room, that might be where the person is sleeping who may have done this." So the authorities basically took Liangelo Ball and the 2 other players to the pokey, or whatever you want to call it, and they were there for a minute. When LeVar Ball was asked about it, LeVar Ball was like, "Yo, this isn't a big deal. They're making it a big deal. It's not really a big deal. I'm not really tripping." And people lost their minds. Like, what does he mean it's not a big deal? This could be an international incident. What do they mean it's not a big deal? LeVar Ball usually has a thing to say. How is this not a big deal? Because it's not a big deal. It's not. Now, before you throw something at me right now, I don't know if you could throw it at me or throw it at whatever, or throw it at your headphones. That wouldn't make sense. But it's not a big deal. He's 19 and did something stupid. So if I had to think back to all the times when everything I did while I was 19, I think the things I got away with were probably worse than the things that I got in trouble for. I would say that about all of us, or else maybe we wouldn't be here. I don't know. That could be judgment. But apparently they let him go. They let the freshmen, Liangelo Ball, Jalen Hill, and Cody Riley, let him go. They returned to the U.S. yesterday, which was Tuesday. I was checking Twitter, and Twitter was going bad. It seems like a lot of people. I'm not gonna say a lot of y'all, because I'm not gonna say what the GSMCers are thinking. That would be rude of me. But what I am gonna say is, I feel like a lot of people on Twitter weren't really 19. I don't know. Maybe people were born, and then after they were born, they were 14 and they were freshmen. Then after that, they were just 35. I don't know. They just skipped 21 years of life and just grew up. Maturity happens that fast, I guess. But people were like, throw away the key. They should be expelled from school. They shouldn't be allowed to breathe American air anymore. Keep them in China. Throw away the key on some Marie Antoinette stuff. Off with their heads. Let them eat cake. All that stuff. Calm down. UCLA released a statement saying they're basically just happy that everything worked itself out. They haven't talked about any punishments yet, but it seems as though the public is calling for punishments. Now, my question about this is, I want to know how much the celebrity has to do with this. Now, I'm not someone that goes willy-nilly wishing bad things upon people, because that's just not how I was brought up. As a staff, record label, or a crew, I wasn't brought up to wish bad things upon people. My question is, are you like this for every 19-year-old that gets caught doing something? I just want to know. Was it stupid for them to take the sunglasses? Yes. Can Liangelo Ball probably buy anything he wants? Probably. I mean, his brother is an NBA player and his little brother drives a Ferrari. So I'm going to assume that they may have enough bread to buy the glasses. It was stupid. Sometimes you do stupid things. When I was younger, I wasn't 19. When I was really, really young, I got caught stealing something and my mom grounded me. And I felt really, really bad because I let my mom down. It was really, really, really incredibly, extremely more of the same word. It was really embarrassing. It was embarrassing. So, I mean, the kid's already embarrassed. Now, if he comes back and continues to be some type of klepto, like say if he goes to the Beverly Center and then decides to go steal some sunglasses, then maybe we might have a problem on our hands. Maybe it should be something that we may need to think about. Maybe we should reevaluate punishments and options. Get him some help. He's stealing too much. But to go and pocket some sunglasses in another country, fine. He did it. It's over with. It's not that big of a deal. I have a friend that I went with to Mexico. This was 3 years ago. We weren't 19. We were late 20s. And he did something in Mexico that you probably shouldn't even do in America, and was like, I didn't know I couldn't do that here. What's wrong with you? Oh, I get it. You've never been out the country before. I understand. And then he had to give the authorities all his money. Y'all know how it goes. When you in Tijuana, something happens, you got to just break bread. You got to empty your wallet and you have to make your pockets turn into bunny ears. Just bloop, just take them out like bloop, and then they're bunny ears, and then you get away. And that's what happened. So he learned this lesson. I think this is a similar situation. I think that maybe he thought that he could just take them and then shake off and then come back and pay later. Or maybe it's a situation where he just thought he could take them and he felt entitled. That's kind of what happened with Jameis Winston. They said he stole some crab legs. I doubt he actually stole the crab legs. He probably went somewhere where it's probably cool to just get complimentary crab legs, and then he bounced with them, and then whoever was there that day was like low-key hating, like, hey man, I work here, you can't do that. I don't care what you do in Shelly here. My name is Paul, and when I'm here, I'm not involved. And then James was like, yeah man, it'd be cool, whatever, I'll come back. And then they called the police on him. That could be the same thing that happened here. I'm not 100% sure, but all I know is that the players will be playing in the next game. They said that they will be like punished somehow based on however the school is going to punish them, which I'm going to say that I think that's embarrassing enough to me. I'm already embarrassed enough because my little brother is scoring 100 in games and driving a Ferrari. And my older brother is playing for the Lakers. Like I keep calling Lonzo the first overall pick because the real first overall pick isn't playing. So I'm gonna call Lonzo the first overall pick. My older brother's the first overall pick, and I'm at UCLA, and nobody really talks about me. And my first story is I'm stealing. Come on, dude. He's embarrassed enough. So I think the kid has suffered enough. If it was on me as a parent, I'd be like, man, how you feel? And he'd be like, I feel stupid, Dad. Like, okay, well, that's how you should feel right now. And then that's it. The end. So all these extreme punishments y'all talking about, make them build sunglasses. Like, oh nah, y'all calm down. Everything's going to be fine. He's going to bounce back. I actually hope that he does, because I don't really want to hear the word international scandal anymore or international incident. Y'all, we got so much other stuff going on as far as international incidents go based on particular things that are said, that I don't really think a 19-year-old taking some glasses is really that big of a deal. It's a big deal because his brother is a big deal. That's kind of what it is. I sincerely think that a lot of this is just is like kind of low key, like envy and jealousy. Because when there's a 19-year-old outside stealing your car right now. Check, look outside the blinds. You see him? Oh, you don't have a car? All right, fine. There's a 19-year-old somewhere stealing something. And it's okay because they're 19. Even when we talk to 19-year-olds, we kind of roll our eyes like, you're 19, so I don't really know if I should probably take this health advice from you. Who knows, But within this situation, because his brother is in the league, and because I'm sorry, I keep saying this kid is 19 years old. I honestly don't even think he's 19. So for us to keep saying that, for us to keep treating this kid like he's 30 something, or even like he's like he has a number higher than a 1 in front of his age it's low key ridiculous. So we gotta cut him some slack. He's gonna be okay. He'll bounce back. I also hope that he plays really well at UCLA, because if he doesn't, we're gonna hear about this forever. When something happens to you in sports and then you bounce back, nobody really talks about it anymore. But when something happens to you and then you're terrible, well, I'm not going to say terrible. That word is too negative. But when something happens to you and then you don't bounce back in the way that people want you to, oh my God, it's never ending chaos. For example, Tiger. Poor Tiger. If Tiger won't bounce back, he's not. We keep talking about his back. Back problems are no joke. I have never had back surgery like Tiger, but I've pulled a muscle in my back before, and it felt like an elephant stuck its tusk through me and started dancing. That's how it felt. So I feel for Tiger. However, ever since he hasn't played well, all we can talk about is his incident on Thanksgiving. That's all we could talk about. Meanwhile, other athletes do things. I'm not going to point out people's problems and make you guys try to remember stuff that's been forgotten, but other athletes end up in situations, and then once they overcome that, say they win a championship, say they get another job after that incident, say they end up being a broadcaster, say they're just a model citizen after that. Any one of those things, then we completely forget about the incident and we don't have to talk about it anymore. So I'm going to send all the positive energy that I have available. Well, not all of it, because I need some of it for myself, but no, available. I'm going to send extra positive energy out to the universe for Liangelo Ball, because I don't want this to define this man's career, because it shouldn't. So it hasn't been said whether or not the three are going to be eligible for the next game, or whether or not they'll be suspended. UCLA hasn't really released any punishment information. I think that the punishment to all of us would be if this continued and they were stuck in China and couldn't get out of China, because maybe we'd get tired of hearing about that and it'd be really close to something else. And then suddenly we got a genuine LeVar Ball versus Donald Trump versus China situation that all really sounds like a bad matchup for a wrestling match. Actually, I'm sorry. It might sound like a bad matchup for a wrestling match, but it sounds like an astounding South Park episode. So hopefully South Park can make an episode about this. I think that'd be pretty nice, and I would watch it. When I get back, I'm going to tell you guys about why Kyrie Irving is not enjoying that mask on his face. Why would he not enjoy having a plastic mask on his face while he plays a sport that requires all of his attention on top of a broken bone in his face? Like, why wouldn't he enjoy that? Jeez, it sounds ridiculous. I'm going to tell you guys why when I get back. I got to go ahead and pay this bill real quick. Also, when I get back, I'm going to tell you guys about the game of the night. Are you ready for that? I hope so. Because I got one for you. I'm even going to give you a pick. So I'm going to tell you what the line is for the game. Then I'm going to tell you who you should pick. But don't hold me to it, though. Don't hold me to it. I'm just going to tell you my opinion. All right. Be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway. How you guys been? I hope you've been well, because it's only been a couple seconds, and last I talked to y'all, you guys were doing incredible. So I just got done telling you guys about the Liangelo ball shopping spree fiasco and how it's been dropped. We're going to sweep it under the rug, and everything is going to be fine going forward. As I promised, I'm going to give you guys game of the night. I'm also going to give you a pick of the night as well. Before I get to that, I gotta tell you something that's going on with the Celtics. Oh, I bet you're like, surprise, surprise, Ryan. You always tell us about the Celtics. What's going on now? Well, other than them winning their 13th straight game and hanging a game without Kyrie on Sunday night because he broke a bone in his face, because he has a minor, as they want to keep calling it, they say it's a minor fracture in his face. But I'm not someone that really understands how you have a minor fracture in your face. I've had zits on my face that I don't even think were minor. So I'm one to believe that if you break a bone in your face, then I don't really think there's anything like minor about that. From what I gather, there's a lot of muscles in your face, and when muscles and bones aren't cooperating, things just aren't right. Anyway, I feel for Kyrie. However, I was under the ignorant impression that he was going to be able to like channel his inner Kobe Bryant by wearing this mask, because when the Mamba wore a mask, he would ball. Well, Kobe would always ball, but for some reason, Kobe made the mask look cool. There's been a lot of players that make the mask look cool. Kobe made it look cool. Rip Hamilton, Courtney Lee, they all made the mask look pretty cool. Kyrie's was pretty cool a couple years ago. But when I made this assumption, I forgot that Kyrie did actually wear a mask in the past. He wore a mask a couple years ago when he was on the Cavs, and he hung 41 at Madison Square Garden. So I feel like he's already had his fun with the mask. I thought that he would enjoy wearing it, but apparently he's not enjoying wearing this mask. When he wore the mask the first time during his first little mask fiasco, or I'm going to call it fimasco, if that makes sense, maybe it doesn't. But he wore an all-black mask, went to Madison Square Garden, scored 41. That's what great players do. They go to Madison Square Garden and they score 41 buckets. But this is his second time wearing the mask. And when he was asked how his face felt, he responded, "My face is broken." I'm like, how do you expect it to feel? He didn't say all that, but he said it really clever, like, it's broken. Like, duh. Like, my face is broken. How am I supposed to feel with my broken face? So I 100% feel for him, because this isn't probably some novelty that you want to do multiple times, right? Like, oh my God, I'm wearing a mask. Yay. I get it. All right. The novelty's done, right? It's one of those things. You ever been on vacation somewhere really, really nice and you go buy a drink and like it has like say you buy a drink and they put it in this big coconut thing, right? Like you get not even, it doesn't have to be that exotic. Let me stop trying to be ostentatious. You get a drink, right? And there's like a bunch of fruit and a huge pineapple. Maybe there's a dolphin fin and you're like, oh my God, look at this drink. Then the second time you get it, it's like, look, I don't need all the decorations. I don't need the Christmas tree wreath. I don't need the whole pumpkin inside of my drink. All I need is just the drink because you're over the novelty. That's how I think that Kyrie feels about this mask. Even though he was still able to hang 25 buckets with the mask. And then after that, after the game, he gave away his gear to some troops that were at the game, which is dope. I mean, bless up. I personally feel like he should have gave the mask away. The interesting thing about this mask thing, though, is he said that when he wears the mask, it messes up his vision, right? So, well, duh, right? So it messes up his vision. It's kind of lifted above his face. He said the black one was easier to wear. Well, not easier, but when he wore the black one, it messed up his peripheral, so he couldn't really see the side. So he couldn't get people the ball. So all he could see was the hoop, which, I mean, surprise, surprise, right? Like, I mean, Kyrie Irving gets buckets. I don't really know how he could be more driven towards the hoop. Apparently, there is a way he could be more driven towards the hoop by having this mask on. So that's how he would get buckets because he can't see anything. During his last game, he kept moving the mask, taking it off, moving it around because it was just completely uncomfortable, which I would think that it is because there's a bone fracture in your face. And if you're wearing this mask, it's supposed to protect you from getting hit in the face, like on the bone that you're wearing, but it's still pressure and has to be off your face a little bit. He said it gets really foggy and he can't really see anything. I want to go ahead and take the time to appreciate professional athletes because sometimes I hear individuals talk about how they should be able to play through whatever. They get this much money, suck it up, blah, 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 as though the amount of money that you get should indicate the amount of effort, as though the amount of money you get increases your human threshold for pain. I'm going to go ahead and say that it's probably something that they just accept because if they didn't accept it, then they wouldn't be able to play. So when someone can't play, they probably can't play because you got a man out here right now. They're in first place. So it's not like they're in seventh. If they take too many L's, they'll fall out of the playoff race. And even if they were, it wouldn't matter because it's November. But his face is broken and he's still playing. Why? Because he has to. Like, they gave him this much money. It's like, yo, you got to play because this is what we got to sell these tickets. Tell me this. If you broke a bone in your face, would you be at work today? Like, for y'all that are driving to work right now or driving home from work, or if you're at the gym, or if you're in one of the hundreds of places that you choose to listen to my awesome, silky, feathery voice, would you be doing what you're doing right now if you had a minor fracture in your face? All right, let me change the question. Would you be doing what you're doing right now if you had a hangnail? What if you had a hangnail? What if you had a splinter? If you had a splinter on your finger, would you go to your typing job? No. Data entry? No, you wouldn't. This man's playing basketball, getting to the bucket with a mask on his face. I think that is something to be appreciated. He apparently only has to wear it for a couple more weeks. I mean, I say good luck with that, Kyrie. If he's still getting 25 though with the mask on, jeez. I mean, come on, dude. Like, when he gets it off, is he going to be better? Like, when he gets it off, is Kyrie going to have more buckets? Jeez, his Boston experience has been something else. I'm more and more excited about this trade. When it first happened, I didn't really care. Like, I couldn't really care because I just figured the Cavs were still going to be raw, and I didn't really believe in the Celtics or whatever. But because I didn't pay that much attention to them in the beginning of last year, I blame myself for that, and I kind of just thought they were a team that got hot and snuck in. But apparently, their coach Brad Stevens, he knows what he's doing. He's a chess master, and he's over there killing it. So big up to the Celtics. I hope their journey continues to be as positive as it's been thus far. As promised, I said I would give you guys a game of the night along with the pick. So sometimes this might be a pick and the game of the night in one. And then sometimes it might be two. Tonight, it's going to be two. So you're lucky. Like, I'm going to do this for y'all. I'm going to do this for the team. I'm going to do this for my GSMCers, for you guys, for the people, for the culture. The game you should watch tonight, if you can, somehow, some way, is going to be Philadelphia versus Los Angeles. Philly versus the Lake Show. I told y'all a little bit earlier about how raw the Sixers are. They're 7-6. 76ers. I'm not gonna get over that pun. I'm kind of sad that tonight it's gonna have to end, because tonight, after tonight, they'll either be 8-6 or 7-7. I won't be able to say the 76ers are 7-6 anymore. I won't be able to say that. I'm low key sad about it. But y'all gotta watch this, because it's gonna be Joel Embiid going up against Lonzo Ball. And it's gonna be Joel Embiid going up against Brook Lopez. Lonzo Ball going up against Ben Simmons. Hopefully Lonzo Ball doesn't have to guard Ben Simmons, though, because Ben Simmons is a beast. Either way, you guys got to watch this game tonight, because I think that what you're going to be watching, I'm gonna go out on the limb and say something wild. I'm going to say something really cliche. It's not going to be that wild. What you're going to watch is the future of the NBA. All these players, all of them, except for maybe Lopez, because he's been in the league for a minute. But these players right here, like this clash, is gonna be the future of the league. That's what you're gonna see. And if you haven't seen Lonzo play, you should definitely watch him play, just because of the way he distributes the rock. I also think that this game is gonna be a great stage for Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to see what's popping. Like, not for them to see what's popping, for us to see what's popping with them, just because I don't think a lot of people know that the Sixers are low key raw. And when I say raw, I mean, like, when I say raw, they're not terrible anymore. That's what I mean by that. So don't say, well, how are they raw, Ryan? They're in 7th place. How is that raw? I mean, they're not terrible anymore, because around this time last year, I don't think they had won any games. I don't think they've won any games since Allen Iverson has left there. In fact, since Allen Iverson left, based on my random stat guide, I'm going to say they've been 0-6,000. They haven't even played 6,000 games since AI left. That's my hyperbole to let you know how bad they've been. So tonight you should watch that game. My pick of the night is going to be New York -4. Utah is going to play in New York, and I feel like this is one of those times when the line makers just kind of just threw the line together. They just made it, because you can only make so many lines, right? Like, when it comes to football lines, they have like a whole week. They have a whole week to make those. They don't even make them anymore. Like, they come from overseas in the cuts, and a computer generates them. That's top secret. You're not even supposed to know that. So it's New York Knicks -4. The New York Knicks haven't played since they took that L to Cleveland. Utah just lost Rudy Gobert. And again, basketball lines, they're not thought through as well as football lines. Football lines have a whole week. They have a computer. They got this little scientist that's locked in a room, and he has a really old calculator, and he's wearing a green visor, and he's in a room full of smoke. He's pushing a whole bunch of buttons, and it makes the line like that. And they put that in the computer, and the computer talks about it. It's that weird computer from Jeopardy. You know, the one that knows all the answers. I think his name's Watson. That computer. Then after that, they send you the line. Then Vegas makes all this money. NFL has a whole bunch of time to do that. Meanwhile, basketball, they got to pump these lines out like that. They don't have time. So because Rudy Gobert went down, because the Jazz are overlooked, I don't think everyone really knows that the Knicks are quite raw yet. Yes, I'm going to say the Knicks are raw, because they're not terrible. Raw means NT, not terrible. When a team is epic or astounding or great, I will say epic, astounding, or great. But for now, I'm going to leave it at their raw. So I say you guys pick the Knicks -4 tonight. Don't bet your whole house on it, because if you're going to bet your whole house on it and then email me or tweet me like, hey, Ryan Holloway, what happened? I lost my whole home, baby. No. I'm not saying that. I mean, if you got a little bookie or something, or someone to do a little bet for you, just put $5 on it. And if you win $5 from your bet, then hey, go buy yourself a Subway sandwich, split it in half with a friend, tell them you love them, and maybe tweet the show and say thank you. This has been the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway. Thank you for listening. Go ahead and share this, tweet this, plug this in, listen to it again. Do whatever you would like to do to spread this joy all over the podcast universe. Thank you again for listening. Have a wonderful day. Excelsior!
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.